Hey, what's going on, folks? Alex here with darkmonkeyballs.com, coming at you with another podcasty type video, which are now few and far between. I haven't done one of these for quite some time, but was inspired a little bit and decided to do one. First and foremost, I'd like to thank all the new subscribers. I think the last time I did one of these, my subscriber count was only like 50, and now it's up to 109, which isn't too bad. I'm happy with that. So if you want to spread this around like VD, go ahead and do that. That'd be awesome. But I want to talk today about reptile shows and prices of animals. I might have covered this topic before, but for all the new people, might as well cover it again if I haven't or if I did. But anywho, we have here in Southern California kind of a unique thing. We have 4 reptile shows a year that are of decent size, 3 of which are pretty close together. There's one a little bit further away in San Diego. I'm over here in Orange County, so San Diego's about 2 hours from me. And then most of the other shows are either 10 minutes or 15 minutes. But really 2 hours isn't that long of driving distance. And for some folks, a lot of reptile shows sound pretty good. It's good for the local people to sell animals and make money that way. Especially for the small-time guys, the local guys, or somebody like me. Tables aren't that expensive. I could go set one up if I wanted to, if I had enough stock to sell something. But I'm super, super small-time, really just on the hobby side. I've only got, right now, about 18 snakes, and I'm trying to cut that down by half just because of space and money and time. For one thing, I can't breed rats here where I'm at, and feeding reptiles or this many snakes every week gets expensive. Not like the tarantulas. I can breed dubia roaches here and feed them, and it's pretty cheap. I basically go outside, pick an orange, cut it up, give it to them, and then replace and whatnot when they got to eat. And that's it for the roaches. I mean, it's easy. So yeah, for shows and stuff, we get these different things going on. We have one for basically every couple months. There's a show in Pomona, then there's Anaheim, the NARBC show, and the convention center in Anaheim, followed by another Pomona show, and then one in San Diego. And if you really wanted to drive 6 hours, there's a smaller one in Vegas. But yeah, there's quite a few shows, which is, again, good for the small guys, but bad for a couple reasons. What happens with these shows is typically, I guess, if you're in an area where you only get one show a year, you're able to save up cash, and you go to the show, you spend your money, and you're happy. You get a show every couple months. People are spending their money every couple months, and that's good. You get prices and stuff, you get deals and discounts, but for folks that are out of state, it's a little bit harder because it costs money to ship or travel over here and do that. We used to have folks like Kevin at Nerd or Brian at BHB come down to the shows here in California and sell stuff, and then it'd be good because there's only like one show a year, and that was the NARBC show in Anaheim, and people would do all right and then go back and all that other stuff. But to ship things from the East Coast to here is really expensive, and it stresses out the animals. It takes a ton of time. So what ended up happening is it costs more to come out to the California show than people would make out here. Which is why, for those guys that live here in California, if you've ever wondered why Brian or Nerd or anybody else haven't been to California in a long time, there's your reason. It simply just costs way too much money and whatnot to come out to California and do a show than it does to, say, drive out to even Florida. From Michigan to Florida, from the East Coast to Florida and Daytona, it's still cheaper than coming to California. And so they cover the East Coast shows and the Midwest shows, and that's all good and stuff, but for some folks out here that want to see guys like that, probably not going to happen for a while unless they're out visiting for some other reason. So yeah, that's that. I mean, that's really the only reason they can't make it out here. And like I said, it sucks for folks that want to see them, but other than that, whatever, no loss. It's better for the small guys, I guess, for now. And it's good for them for now. Because what's eventually going to happen is, say you add a couple more shows, and now everybody else, even the local guys, are going to be losing a little bit of money here and there because folks are spending their money every couple months, and they don't save up like they used to, and they don't make those big purchases like they used to, and it just, the environment's just a little bit different. And with these shows, all this other stuff, you have a kind of a weird competition. We got supply and demand and all that other stuff, but there's this really odd competition that happens. And it happens more at the 2 Pomona shows than I think at NARBC. And what happens is you'll get a guy across the booth who has a price on an animal. And then the dude across the way or whatever sees that price and lowers it. And they go lower and lower. just to kind of compete, just so they can move something, so they can make some cash. And that's great for the sellers, kind of. I mean, you get what you pay for, and folks that are willing to go really cheap on an animal probably didn't invest too much time to make sure the animal's healthy. And you see this with folks that import a lot of stuff. They'll import things in huge quantities and they sell it off. I don't need to mention any names on who does that or whatever, but it lowers the price and it kind of lowers the standard a bit on the quality of animals that we have. You got to figure how things are priced. When I got into steaks about 5 years ago, the combinations and stuff were starting to come out. Triple gene animals were like huge and stuff, which was crazy at the time. Now we have, 6, 7 genes. Nerd probably has who knows how many genes going into single animals. But, at the time, a normal ball python was about $80. And that's really expensive compared to what they are now. They're like, 15, 20, $30, depending. Not that much. But that's all well and good, I guess, supply and demand. There's a lot of normals out there. People don't really want them, per se. But you got to think about it. There's an inherent cost it takes to raise an animal. Feeding and stuff. Let's say a healthy baby ball python takes maybe $20 to get going as far as food. And that's pretty much what they sell for. And a lot of times, say you're trying to buy something online, you got to think about shipping. Shipping normally costs about $50, depending on if you're FedEx certified, etc., etc. I was just getting some shipping quotes because somebody was asking about something, and it's literally going to cost $100 or so to ship the animal out from where I'm at to where they are, and I'm not FedEx certified, so I have to go through a middleman, which means they're raking up their price so that they can get their money. So $100 to ship out a breedable female normal ball python that's on the larger side. It's the 2,300 gram girl that I posted up on my previous video. And if I want to make, say, $200 on the animal, I'm eating half that cost in shipping, which means it's not good for me, a hobby guy. It's almost not even worth my time to try and ship it out, which is, the truth of the matter, whatever. So I might try and sell it locally. I may keep it for breeding. I don't know. That's really it's expensive to ship out. And I think shipping costs have gone up in the last couple of years, at least through Ship Your Reptiles, which is what I was looking at. So that's kind of a kick in the ass. But back to the pricing on animals. I mean, normal ball pythons for $20. I mean, what's the value there? And this goes. You can look up videos on Kevin from Nerd talking about why his stuff is priced the way it is, and I understand. You put in the effort into an animal, you have a quality product, you want to get your money's worth. I mean, they are animals. It's not like I'm buying a Matchbox car for $1 and trying to sell it or whatever. It takes time, it takes effort and work to get the animals going, keep them alive and healthy. And if you want to buy cheap snakes, it's pretty easy to just go get a bulk shipment from Africa of babies that are fresh out of the egg. And you run the risk of disease and animals not eating off for you and dying. And I mean, snakes randomly die. That's kind of one of the sad things that people don't see too often. I mean, you saw it in one of my videos, just going through the hatchlings from the last set. I mean, 2 of them were deformed. I had to put them down. You don't see it too much in, other videos with breeding snakes and the consequences of breeding and what can happen. But that's the truth. And it takes effort and time, and everybody kind of wants to get their money's worth of something, So $20 for a normal ball python, it's kind of, I don't know, it's not where it should be. I understand people want cheap snakes. As a buyer, you want a cheap animal, but you want a healthy animal too. So don't complain if you buy something cheap and it dies on you. I mean, you get what you pay for. Or you buy something from some dude that's importing a bunch of shit and comes in, it spreads, RI to your collection, or on the off chance you happen to get IBD from a snake and it kills off your entire collection, because that's what that does. You can go Google IBD and see what's up with that. Or you get mites. I mean, mites are the super, super common thing that people get with reptiles, and they're hard to control. Baby mites are airborne. If you get, mites under control in one tub, you're probably going to have them in the others springing up, and it's a pain in the ass. But that's what reputations are for. That's what, that's kind of what you're paying in quality, I guess. So you can also look at something like the pastel ball python. I mean, that too, it's like what males go for about $50. I mean, obviously they're not in too much of demand, but again, it's a single gene, codominant animal that you can breed into something else. And 5 years ago, that was like $300 or $400. Now it's $50. And things are probably, I assume they're going to stabilize at some point. Because here's the thing. It's still not a guarantee that you're ever going to get a co-dominant animal in breeding stuff. The same thing with recessive. It's even lower odds. So my hope is that prices don't fall. I don't want to see albinos for like, $100, but they're getting close. I mean, I've seen them for as low as $300 right now. And we gotta be willing to pay a little bit for quality, because if people are just gonna sell crap, then things are gonna go to crap. That's just the way it is. So just stuff to think about, I guess. I didn't really have a whole lot of point with this. I see some people that try to charge more for nice looking stuff, which if they bred it out and they took the time, that's all well and good. But the flip side of that are guys that get something normal and they try to say it's unique and whatever, but reputations and reliability, shop around, do your research. There's there's good guys out there, there's bad guys out there, and then there's everybody else that's in between. So I don't know, whatever, do what you want, listen, subscribe, pass it along, think about it. And if you ever wondered why guys like Brian or Kevin at Nerd aren't going to be in California for a long time, you guys kind of have the answer for that now. But hey, thanks for listening, everybody. Take it easy.